Right, so here we are again.
How y'all doing? All right?
Good, thanks.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So this week or this month's stream, we've got Tim from Tim's Retro Corner on. Hi, Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
So,
Hello, everybody.
right, let's kick off with what we've been up to then. So, Neil, you've been into a rather poorly Lynx,
This one here, yeah.
and that looks like it's going again.
Yeah, well, so and so, innit? I mean, it still needs work on it. Like I say, my voice has gone. Let me just clear it. And I need a game still to test. I haven't got a game, unfortunately. I've got one in the post, but you know what the postal service is like nowadays. It's on its way somewhere.
Royal Mail are diabolical.
Exactly. Do you remember back in day when you used to get two posts, you used to get a morning and an afternoon?
That's it, yeah.
When things used to work.
And you used to get the post before you went to work in the morning.
Exactly, yeah. And then if you miss that post, they'd be bound to get a dinner with second post. Don't know what happened.
Well, I thought that's what first and second class was.
Yeah, but I think that it's like first is 1 week, second is 2 weeks.
It seems to be, yeah.
No, I think first is where they throw it at your door. And second is where they throw it at the neighbour's door.
Yeah.
Might as well be a paper boy.
But they won't tell you what neighbour.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Steve, what about you?
I've not been up to much really, apart from I think the last video I did were on the CD32 recapping. I've got a few bits and pieces on go, projects still projects to catch up on, which I should hopefully be doing in the next few weeks. But in 2 weeks' time, Neil and myself was going to the Blackpool Expo.
Nice.
It's a really good do is that place. If you ever get a chance to get up there, you want to get to it. I mean, I'm saying up there, but it's up there for you two. You know,
it's a bit of a trek for me.
I've been once before, and it was such a good do that I want to go again. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It'll be good do.
You're gonna need to take a mortgage out for that one.
No,
it's not too bad. It depends if you want to go buying. You know, I mean, everything's free when you get there. All pinball tables, or arcade machines, or retro computers to play on. Everything's free. So the only thing you're going to spend on really is food. And if you want to buy out on stalls with retro gear, I'll be looking out for my 10 hit squad games that I've got missing. That'll be my main lookout really. But
I think that's a bit deadly, isn't it? Buying stuff at a show.
Yeah. And last thing I've got coming up is that live stream that I'm going to do on Halloween. Which is gameplay of the Red Dead Redemption, the old Xbox 360 Red Dead Redemption. It's a bit newer to what I do normally on my channel, but I do try and cover things from late 70s right up to sort of like modern day stuff. So I thought I'd have a go at doing a live stream for a change and a bit of gameplay. So that should be fun.
So we've got no Josips today. He's off somewhere.
Yeah, I can't remember where he said what he was doing. I think he were gone somewhere. Has he gone away for a weekend or something? Yeah,
he's having a weekend off. Marvellous. So,
right.
Tim, you've been doing some programming.
Yeah, I've been doing I2C stuff on the C64, which is interesting. In BASIC, which is incredibly slow.
It's incredibly long. I saw the listing.
Yeah, it's
That's
about
some dedication there.
450 lines of BASIC, I think. It was definitely a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it looked it.
But
it works, right?
It works fine. Well,
yeah.
Most of it. It's all Josip's fault. That's probably why he's not here tonight. It's his fault. But he did that thing about putting a temperature probe on the user port.
Yeah.
And so I replicated that, and then I took it a step further. and the first thing I did was just changed his program a little bit so I could do one-shot temperature readings. And then I thought, well, why not add different things? So I just went online, shopped on Amazon, got a whole load of different probes for, I don't know, temperature, humidity, pressure, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And a bunch of different interfaces, and plugged them all in. Wrote some code. I thought it would be a fairly trivial amount of code. It turned out to be about a 4-week rabbit hole.
Like a weather
Brilliant.
station in the end.
Yeah.
That's all I did back in the day when I was a kid.
I'd be challenging him to convert it into machine code.
Yeah.
That's all I did when I was a kid back in the day, with just basic programming. I did quite well. I got to a point where I started writing my own adventure with a graphical display and things like that on it, but I don't even think I could do that these days. I think I've forgotten most of it.
Same, yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it? If you don't use it, you lose it, sort of thing.
Exactly. Like everything.
Yeah. But cool.
The thing is, I mean, once you've got an I2C driver, and I think it kind of is a driver, you know, it just sort of sits in high memory, and you go sub this and go sub that to send data to and from it. You can hook up pretty much anything.
Yep.
And what I want to do eventually is hook up one of these
Display.
32 by 64 LED panel, or whoops, that's a 16 by 16 LED panel. You really need an Arduino to drive it, to be honest, because the power of the 64 is not great, and the amount of memory that you would need to buffer that display. I mean, I think it's like 8K frame. So my next harebrained scheme is basically take this. Let me just pull this out. This is the Arduino and the driver for this panel.
Yeah.
And basically my next harebrained scheme is to stick an IEC port on here and drive it from the C64 serial bus.
That's going to be fairly slow.
Call it device 20 or something.
Yeah.
Open 1,20, and then just
yeah.
dump a disk file straight to the display.
Yeah.
That's my idea anyway. Whether it'll work and whether it will be done before Christmas are two different things.
You also you had to go at Retro Bright in a C16. I keep calling them that, a +4.
I'm the same. I call them Commodore 16 +4s. I don't know why. I always have done.
Yeah,
that's my next video. Let me just go and grab it. +4. So the lighting's not very good in.
It looks good.
It looks great.
That was pretty much brown and grotty and covered in what I think is probably blood stains. And it's come up. I mean, it's come up brilliant.
Nice.
And I think my secret for that was putting a fish tank heater in the what do you call it? Fluid stuff.
Yeah.
Peroxide.
Yeah.
I knew there was a word for it. Peroxide. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Adding heat.
I think you've had a lot better luck with that than I have, Steve.
Yeah, my 64 was bad.
Yeah, most of my stuff I've just done outdoors. That cream seems to work well, even in UK sun, if you like. You need a good sun, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I've not really done an indoor one yet. So I mean, I've got the gear to do so, but I've not really tried it.
My results with cream have been pretty universally awful.
Right.
To be honest.
It's just funny, isn't it? Because
you can display the results in the Tape Modern.
Yeah, but I've seen horror stories with using creams and stuff like that, but I've never seen it had anything go wrong. I think it depends on your attentiveness with it. When I'm at it every probably 5 or 10 minutes, just giving it a massage, moving it about and stuff like that. I'm not allowing it to sit or out like that for any period of time. Maybe that's the trick. I don't know. It's just how it's always seemed to work for me. I tried fluid, but that didn't seem to do anything. You know, where you submerge it.
The big problem with fluid that I've found is one, I've never got a big enough tub to stick the case in. Especially if you're looking at something like an Amiga 500 or something. I mean, you need a huge bloody pot and about 10 litres of peroxide.
You have to do it in a bathtub.
Yeah, then you go and get in the bath. Yeah.
To come out all white, patchy.
Lose your tan.
No, I had to go with the fluid and the B blondes, and that B blonde stuff. I got marbling. I've got it next to me on my Ultimate, and it's kind of like bleached the keys a bit. So yeah. I mean, it's good enough. I mean, I like it, but it's a bit unique. But it is a failure.
Yeah, I've got a marble.
How did you do keys? Did you just sort of brush it on and leave them to it, or?
Yeah, I made these little packets up of cling film. I dumped the B blonde in the cling film, put the keys in, and sort of give it a bit of a massage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm doing them keys, I use a small baking tray. Yeah, and I put tin foil on it, and I put the keys down, and I pour the B blonde all over the top. I use a couple of bottles, so it's all around it, so it's literally just submerged in it, and then I put cling film over the top and put it outside.
Yeah.
So I don't leave it with brush marks or out like that on the edges of them and stuff, but that's just
maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm just not using enough of the stuff.
Of it. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I'm blathering it in. You can't use too much, if you know what I mean. You can use.
Because I've always followed those videos that sort of show you or show themselves just getting a paintbrush and just smearing it on.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do brush it on. It's like a C64 case or something like that. I'll brush it on. But I do use it very, very, and not sparingly as such, but put loads on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just keep coming back and massaging it and moving it about a lot. Just not leave it too long. But it seems to have worked for me. But I suppose once you've done a few, you sort of find your own way, don't you? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
What works?
The other problem I've found with liquid is bubbles.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing keycaps, then the bubbles will get under the keycap and they'll just float.
Yeah.
And you've got half the keycap outside of the peroxide, and so you end up with tan lines.
Yeah. I think you can use them zip bags, aren't you? You know, at the top, and then squeeze fluid to the top, and then zip it, so you've not got any air in there or out like that.
Yeah, well, it still produces bubbles, and it's still after.
Yes. Yeah. It gases up, doesn't it?
An hour or so, you'll find that there's a big bubble in the top with all the keys poking out.
Well, I use some chinky pot.
Doing something like a C64 case, and it's in a big tub. Even if it's submerged to start with, it will float to the top.
Yeah, I've got a pair of old, small vice grips. So I just go on inside of it and find somewhere where I can clip the vice grips on, so you've got the vice grip weight to keep it down.
Yeah, I've used one of those the poles that you get on monitor stands.
Yeah.
They usually come with some sort of mount, and it's a big heavy steel clamp. And I've basically taken a spare one of those and duct taped it to the bottom of the case.
If it works, it works.
Like concrete boots, get in there.
Yeah, concrete boots, that's it.
But I think with you saying that about the bag, Steve, thinking about it, that may have been my problem. I put them in a chinky pot, put the lid on and left them in the garden. And we had quite a bit of sunlight. But if those pots are blocking the UV, then that might have been why I was pissing in the wind.
Could be. You've got to get UV through.
Yeah. Didn't occur to me to use a Ziploc or something. Ziploc bag.
Heat and UV.
Yeah.
Another thought: if you heat it and put it in like a Ziploc bag, then you're going to get vapor in the top half.
There's a way of doing vapor now, isn't there? That they've been talking about, where you put your fluid into heated, and leave it on a block that's mounted above it, so all the gases come off and attack it that way.
Yeah.
Like vapor brighting or something they call it. Have you heard of that?
I thought it was ozone.
It's a similar kind of setup. But
I thought that was basically heating up the peroxide so that it vaporizes.
Yeah.
You have to get it pretty hot. So you need who was it? Mr. Lurch, I think, did a video where he got one of these big I want to call it a cannabis pot. It's about 4 foot high, aluminium covered encased thing with huge lights in there and heaters and stuff. And he put that in his garage with sealed it up and sort of basically made that a vapor chamber.
Bloody hell.
I might be remembering that wrong, but
yeah. Well, yeah. So I can't remember how they were doing it properly. Really, it was a while ago when I saw a video. But that vapor thing seemed not a bad idea, to be fair, because you're not submerging it, you're not bothering with creams. It's sort of like you say, it's a bit more getting ozone attacked, isn't it, rather than anything else.
I think you could, if you could seal it, you could get one of those greenhouse heated plant trays.
Yeah,
that they grow seedlings in.
Yeah, I even thought about just having a little bit for keys and stuff like that, a little bit of a pot, just stick it on your 3D printer base and fetch your 3D printer base temperature up and put the UV light over the top of it.
That's the thought. Heat your 3D printer bed up to 60 degrees and
leave it sat on there.
I'm staying well away with heat and keys. All right, well away.
I've seen your picture.
I'm just not doing it.
It's like me with dishwashers. I'm staying away from dishwashers. Exactly.
So, what we all got coming up then?
Well, my next thing is my +4 video.
Yeah.
Which I'm editing at the moment. It's 10 hours of footage. I've got to get down to about 30 minutes.
Neil?
What am I up to? Probably that board after me mayhem I had. This one here.
The Re Amiga.
The Re Amiga, yeah. See? That one. This one.
Looks nice in that blue. I've got a C64 one in blue.
Tell you what, it's a bit different. It's got a VGA on it.
A VGA?
Yeah, it's got a VGA built into it. Optional 15 kilohertz VGA port there. And
right, okay.
It's got an upgraded compu shite on it for you.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a better one.
Well, that's where the RF box went in it originally.
Yeah, that's where the RF box. He's replaced it with like a VGA and a composite, but the composite's apparently upgraded. It uses the up-to-date Sony chip, the better one.
Has that got built-in scan doubler as well?
It says 15 kilohertz, so I doubt it. Oh, it says do not connect. Oh, wait a minute, I need my glasses or what? Do not connect into this VGA and RGB together at once for some reason.
Oh, don't do it.
Boom. I might do it on a video, just see what happens.
Yeah, you can do it out of
you film it.
Exactly.
The composite's there anyway.
I know it is, but apparently it's better on that one. But apparently this board, he said, he did this as a first board, basically. He scanned the Amiga board or something and traced it all. He said nobody ever built it up. But he put the plans online, and obviously somebody's built these. So he said he don't know whether it'll work. I said, well, I'm not going to solder everything on, and I don't know if it's going to work. What would you do?
A lot of work in it for a gamble.
It is.
It might work.
I might do it one day anyway.
What I'd do is frame it and put it on the wall.
Yeah, I'm going to say that, yeah.
I did think about that. It'd make a nice backdrop, yeah. Yeah. Here's one we started early.
Yeah. Anyway, how the fuck do you get a better composite signal?
He said it's
like degrees of shit.
No, composite's the best video signal. I agree with that. And you can't get much better than it, but yeah.
Oh my god!
VGA's better than it immediately.
I mean, it's great. I mean, you only need two wires. That's it. It's great. I love composite. Better than HDMI.
Yeah.
Better than the SCART lead. I mean, SCART's, look at the size of that compared to composite.
Better than RF.
Exactly. Just about.
Well,
I thought it was funny that most of retro tech is either composite, isn't it? That's been changed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why don't they just put a composite output? But then again, tellies back then didn't have composite, did they? They didn't have sort of SCART input, but composite. RF, yeah.
Everything was RF, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was RF or SCART. That was your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, SCART was good though, because that was mainly RGB. A lot of them were, weren't they? So they were good.
SCART, well, yeah.
Yeah, which was good.
I think that the composite
you can get composite through SCART.
Yeah, you can.
Sorry? Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I think the composite is also something to do with the other video standards as well, because it's just a Lumichroma. Every type of standard has that encapsulation, right? NTSC and all the variants, they've all got their own sort of composite signal, and it can be done really easily. I think it was cheap, cheerful, and the way to go.
And it works.
Well, you get to do something.
Next thing up from composite,
unless you've got an Italian Jaguar.
You what, Tim?
Next thing up from composite is going to be S-Video.
Yeah.
Which
And that is
really got right.
That is literally just the composite separated, or before it's been mixed down.
Yeah.
I quite like the S-Video that I've got coming out of my C64s. The quality of that is absolutely bang on, and so are my Ataris. That's pretty good.
Even your 2600.
Sorry?
Even your 2600.
No, that's fucked. That board that you thought was wonderful is shit.
It's great. I love it. There's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, if you compare that to the other ones, it is so much better than the other ones.
Neil, don't they say a poor man blames his tools?
That's not a qualifier, Neil, at all. Saying it's less shit than the competition.
It is. That's all we've got at the moment. That's all we've got.
You doubled the amount of colours coming out of it because half of them were shadowed off.
Special effects.
Yeah.
You mean black and white?
Yeah. So Neil gets this board for this 2600 and he says, this is great. We whop these boards in and I'm thinking, this is diabolical. And I've pulled off S-Video from it, thinking I should get a really good picture. I didn't. Pulled off the composite and it's almost as good as the bloody S-Video.
Must be your TV, I think.
Nah, I'm not having it. Played a game of Space Invaders, and as soon as the invader come on the screen across the top, the sound interfered and negated the video signal. So it sounded like a fart in a tub.
We fixed that.
We did indeed.
Going straight off the tier chip.
Jesus. Yeah. He loved them. He loved them.
Still do.
So, Steve, what about you? What you got coming up?
I said a bit earlier, I'm not really in the pipe work at the moment. I've still got these other projects to be getting out of the way. I picked up a nice little C64 for a tenner the other day off Facebook, so I'm going to take a look at that. I've still got my SX to long go with.
30 quid.
Nice. I've got one of them, but I don't know what's wrong with it. I just have to look at it. It's just a black screen.
I've never used one. I know nothing about them. It's got no leads. It's going to be a laugh.
I think there's a couple of models. There's one where you can. There's one at chips you can take off easily, and there's one at chips that you can't. If I remember rightly on them boards. You know, a bit like the Spectrum Pluses and stuff like that. They have that floating chip, don't they, in the middle of the board? Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a hole in the middle of the board and the chipset sits in, and the legs are out onto edge of boards.
No. Like,
I'll take your word for that.
What's he doing? Have you seen one? I haven't. A floating chip.
Floating chip?
Where?
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, it's just got a hole underneath it, and then the legs are soldered underneath.
Yeah.
You can still take it off, though.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But there's one like that on that other board. There's a lot bigger than that, apparently.
So
what, on the Acorn?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It must be fitted from underneath the board, then.
It's what?
It's fitted from underneath the board. Because the
Yeah.
leg, because it can't be pushed through
Yeah,
that
there's
way.
like a hole in it, and the chips put up like that, and then you solder the legs at the other side of the board.
That's clever, that is. I like that.
I don't know why they've done it like that, unless they've done it for heat dissipation.
Is that in the Specky?
That's the +3, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got a Specky.
Why?
I never had a Spectrum. Never, ever owned a Spectrum.
You've got a C64 though now.
No, well, that's what I mean. I only had Commodores. I had an Acorn Electron. I had a BBC Micro, a BBC B Model B, with a word processor on the ROM.
Yes,
and I had a Dragon 32 with loads of
awesome.
Old Dragon.
And that Commodore 16+4 I got on the video was the first one I'd tried and used. That was a strange thing.
Where's he gone?
Don't know. You said Dragon, he disappeared.
I've got a couple of dragons there. They're brilliant.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, Electron.
They are nice keyboards on them.
Yeah. That's what I said earlier.
Spot on.
I think if I remember correctly, they took the bus and they changed it to a 4-bit bus internally.
Don't know.
One of the cost-cutting measures. I'm sure I read about this somewhere, where some of the games run at half speed.
See you later.
Because it's been cut down.
It has, yeah. It was majorly cut down from BBC.
Yeah.
As far as we are aware.
And I thought they multiplex in 2 4-bit nibbles.
They've got a thing where the CPU runs at 2 megahertz if it's talking to ROM, and only 1 megahertz if it's talking to RAM.
Bloody hell.
Ah, that's right. That's right. I was slightly wrong with it. There's some of them that have got a URL that's not removable.
Oh, fucking hell.
It's a bit, it's a bit like your GPU using it on your 360s.
Yeah, it's a blob, and it's a epoxy blob.
the dreaded blob.
Yeah. So apparently that's a not changeable one, as far as I'm aware, because you can't get to pins underneath it unless you do a reflow. But then you've got to get another chip to reflow it back onto, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're not gonna reflow a blob, are you?
No, it's the whole square that comes off, Lee.
That's what I mean. I see.
You know, do you like GPU on Xbox 360, say?
Yeah.
The whole square. I presume it's solder boarded underneath it.
Oh,
So you can take them off, but it's trying to find one of them. I mean, I think this is a later model. I think the earlier ones had a chip that you could actually take on and off.
I didn't know that.
I didn't as well.
I don't know which model mine is. I haven't taken it apart yet.
Get your screwdriver out.
I only got it yesterday.
Why are you waiting so long?
If you need a power supply, I've got one.
I actually got offered one about 2 weeks ago.
Talking of power supplies, I just got this off the 3D printer, which is it's going to be a new replacement power supply for the Plus 4.
Cool.
What did you do about the plug?
I'm gonna rip the
Middle pin out
and just reuse the lead.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing, it says on the back of it, white screen, solid ULA, memory module, memory module replaced, ROM and CPU are now socketed. So I've tested everything else. Everything else seems to work all right, but it's just you can't test that thing really.
This doesn't say anything on it. It's pretty clean though, so
yeah,
doesn't need retro brighting or anything.
I've got board cover if you want one of them.
So you're gonna make
a nice looking thing. Sorry,
you're gonna make a Plus 4 PSU.
Yeah. It's
Has
just
that got the 5 volt in as well, or just a 9? I can't.
it's got both.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both. It's a 64, is it?
I've got the bits for it. It's just a regular sort of 5 volt meanwhile.
Yeah.
And
Little transfer.
little transformer.
How
And
much
a
that
feed.
put out?
Sorry?
How much does a transformer put out?
This is 0.75 VA per winding, so it's 1.5 VA.
Yeah. I don't know how much 9 volt it's going to pull, but it doesn't have a SID chip in it, so I forget.
Inside the Plus 4, though, weren't they? And there's a lot less chip in there.
Well, I looked at the spec on the original brick, and this is better than that,
Oh, nice.
and this is better than that. So
Oh, it's better than them things. Ticking time bloody bombs, aren't they?
I didn't really need to get a caged one, but this was what they had in
It's
stock.
small, isn't it? I like that.
Yeah.
I built one of the power supplies I built has got a mean well in it. Well, they've all got mean wells in them, but it's got a 10 amp 5 volt mean well in it. It's like Jesus Christ. But no, they work really well, and they got really good output on them as well, ripple wise. Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes down to what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But
if you've got one that's 10 amps, that'll do.
well, what I also found was a 10 amp supply is really, really, really good if you only want to pull 5 amps or less. They perform really well.
Oh yeah, because they got all the overhead.
Yeah. So all of the nastiness you get out of a switch mode power supply is as you get past the 50% mark.
Yes,
The
yeah,
demand.
when you're running it towards the limit.
Yeah. Or if you buy them cheap ones like I did, that were £3 from AliExpress, as soon as you turn it on. I've never seen nothing like it.
I've got one of them. I ran the CD32 and it wouldn't read games. When I changed it to the original one, it started reading games.
Oh, them ones I got, I end up binning.
I think mine are the same.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm keeping it for my Commodore 64.
What?
I'm joking, don't worry.
You can run Commodore 64 off USB power.
Well, I've been having a play with the FPGA stuff. So 6 or 7 years ago, I did some dev work on the Mist, and I bought a couple of FPGA development boards. Well, I never used them. I just left them on the side. So I found, just quite by accident, an MSX bitstream. So I got this board out and fired in the MSX bitstream into it and turned it into like an MSX2 Plus. So yeah, I thought I'd play a couple of games on that. And yeah, the MSX is pretty shit.
What games did you fire up on it?
I tried Ghostbusters, Pitfall, some weird ass no name Jap stuff. Jesus, some of that is right out there. Some of that gear. But
I want to know what Ghostbusters any good?
No, not really.
Still didn't beat the 64 version then.
No, not at all. I mean, the MSX has got a lot of colours, but there's no hardware scrolling in the horizontal plane. It's only vertical, and it's really weird. It seems to only like single colour sprites as well, so it kind of looks a bit like and I can't believe I'm going to say this, like a shittier Amstrad.
So what you're saying is you've built yourself an Amstrad?
No, I built myself a shittier Amstrad.
So you built yourself an
An Amstrad's an upgrade on this. I couldn't believe it.
Hang on a minute. I had a video clip of you saying Amstrad were good.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think it's been edited. I think there's some editing going on there.
Go back and watch the previous stream.
Yeah, deep fake video. It took us ages to fake that to see. cut paste.
No, but while I've been playing with this MSX board, it's actually, you get the stuttering with the, as you're playing it, it tends not to matter. And you know, I was playing Pitfall on it, and it was all right. I'm sitting there playing away, and yeah, really strange. It just seems to not really bite you like an Amstrad does, you know, where it really swears at you and you think, fucking hell, this is shit. But when you're playing the MSX, you tend to sort of overlook a lot of it, unless it's just me.
Somebody just said Addy the same as ColecoVision, which was actually pretty good for the day. Addy?
They were quite good with Colecos, weren't they, back then?
He said the MSX machines are similar to ColecoVision. Don't know where they
experience with MSX, to be fair, so I can't really comment on that one. But the Coleco and the Intellivision, they were pretty good, weren't they?
Well, the Coleco had a really weird version of River Raid that looked really weird, and the MSX version's quite like it.
Perhaps it is then. Perhaps they are similar.
That might be it.
Is it like Canal Raid? Was it with canal barges?
What?
Were you running it on composite?
You like Canal Raid with canals instead of like with barges and
No, fucking hell. Now you've got RGB output on it as well.
Oh, have you? No composite.
Even on the normal MSXs, you can pull RGB out of it. So you know, even if the graphics are crap, they're going to look good crap, nice and sharp. But MSXs are going for stupid money, and I can't afford one of them. So I just thought I'd give it a go, and I loaded the bitstream up, and yeah, it's quite endearing. So yeah, I got
a couple in the storage finds, but I haven't had a chance to dig them out and have a play with them all yet.
You should. But are they MSX ones?
Is it HD or something like that? HX10 or something daft like that they call them. 64K.
Yeah. Give it a go.
For now. Yeah.
But I'll probably do a video on this board I've had a go on, and yeah, I've got a video processor for the C128. So I jumped into do a bit of 3D modeling today, and I made a little bracket because the board sits off the 128 motherboard by an amount to locate in the holes in the back. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's got to comes with two boards. It's got one of them's got to replace the modulator, and the other one's like a piggyback for the VIC-2E. So yeah, I'm going to change that out on my 128 Neo, and that should give crystal clear quality graphics, no jail bars, and it'll also give composite component output. Got me fucking doing it, Neil, ain't ya? Component output and HDMI. So from the 128, it's like the best you're going to get.
Yeah.
So I shall be doing that soon.
So I'll have to look at that. I might have a go at one of them with my 128 that I've got.
Well,
RF
have you seen them?
The 40 and 80 together to out one signal?
No.
Right. Okay.
But for the 80 column, you can use an RGB to HDMI and get a superb output out of it. Pucker HDMI signal. That works well.
I've just never looked at them. I've got a couple of 128s. I've got 128 flat and the 128D, but I've never sort of looked at the 80 column mode on it. I've got the monitor, but I just haven't got the cable in for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, you could use you can wire up a SCART adapter to it as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to have a look. I'm just never bothered with 80 column because there isn't really much for 80 column apart from business stuff, is there?
No, it comes from a few games use it as well now. Eye of the Beholder's got an ongoing map. That weird, what's it called? Petski Invaders? Petski?
Yeah, jobby, isn't it?
Yeah, that one. That uses it as well.
That's got an 80 column map on it, yeah.
Yeah. Admittedly, not a lot of things use 80 column mode, and the VDC chip's pretty diabolical, but it works well.
Yeah.
There's some demos in 80 column mode as well that are supposedly pretty good. I haven't seen them. I've seen YouTube videos of them, but not actually run them myself.
Well, there's somebody called Sven that's made an output for 128s that converge both together.
I don't know how he'd do that because one of them's a TTL based.
Like that, I can't quite remember. I've just got something in my mind that it made something like that.
I think there's a switcher.
Yeah.
That you can. I don't know how it works, but you can plug a monitor in there and it'll switch between 40 and 80 columns. I've only ever used the monochrome composite on mine.
Yeah, it's just something that I were sort of playing with. Yeah.
It's on my list of things to look at one day.
I think we've all got lists like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. I've just sent you in private chat. Let you have a look.
Okay. I apologise. Anyone has... Oh, StatMat's been asking questions. Hey, chap. Apologies. I've only just opened the bloody comments next to me.
You click on his comments if there's any questions.
We're all chatting away and being totally ignored.
Click on the comments and you can bring them up on screen.
StatMat is the guy that made the One Load 64 collection.
All right, okay. Cool. Thank you very much.
Ever seen one of these before, Steve?
What's that?
These little Hori pads for Nintendo 64.
They're small, aren't they?
They're like a mini pad.
They're better than the boomerang one that you get with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it in I found it in a box of stuff I'd bought. But I've checked online, they're going for 80 quid.
Who's the hell?
But it's a bit rattly.
Does it work in Commodore?
Hey? No, it's got the N64 thing on it, hasn't it? But the weird thing. Well, they're weird anyway, N64 controllers, aren't they? Well, at least the analog's in a decent place.
Well, it certainly looks better than that boomerang thing that came with them. They were weird with them. Well, you guys held it like that, didn't you? I held it like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Strange. Anybody got stuff coming from PCB way at all? Have you got stuff coming?
I think Neil's got all of it, isn't he?
I've got all my stuff's here somewhere, yeah. Don't know where it's gone.
Has he got the full set?
I think he's got everything. He just said, yeah, I'll take it.
I asked for everything.
I've got some Ghostbuster cartridges to be making.
I don't know where mine's gone.
Epic's fat load of cartridges to do, and I got a small little handheld. It's about so big, oscilloscope. I'll give it a try.
You got the handheld oscilloscope?
Yeah.
The one off that video?
Which video?
The one off that girl's video.
No. This is smaller than that. That thing about that big. It was about 26 quid on eBay with that.
I got the Atari 2600 Uno cart. That's what I would go build one of them because you got a program at FPGA, haven't you? What else did I get? The Commodore 64 video breakout board because I thought that'd be handy for me to have. So the one that plugs in the back.
I've seen that.
Super video. And it's got composite as well output.
I must admit, I saw that 20 quid oscilloscope thing, the video, the girls video, and I looked on Amazon and they are about 22 quid or something like that as a kit. And I thought it's probably going to be crap compared to a regular scope, but it might be a laugh to get a kit and try it out and build it and see how it compares.
Have you seen how many subs she's up to after 3 videos?
5,200.
5,000 subs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's all after one video. It's one.
Look at Lee.
I remember when I watched it, I think she had 57 subs, something like that.
Yeah. But fair play to lads. I mean, what she's produced on them videos is quite good as well. I quite enjoyed watching it, to be honest. I've spoken to her, and she's done really, really well. For what she's done in the first 3 videos, I'd like to see what she's going to do in 12 months' time.
Maybe nothing now.
Quite cool. I did invite her to stream at some point as well if she wanted to come on just to give us a nudge.
Yeah,
she's more than welcome to come on.
Yeah, I think she's retired now.
And I think it's nice. Yeah. I just think it's nice that, the younger generation want to try and get into his retro stuff that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that Ghostbusters one that I've ordered anyway.
That's cool.
So I'll have quite a few of them to be getting rid of eventually. I don't know whether I'm going to put them on eBay or give them to Patreon members or something like that. I think it's just it's an idea, but we'll see what happens with that.
Was it just a ROM and a couple of resistors?
Yeah.
It's just one ROM and a bit of logic. That's it.
And a There's
not even any resistors on it, like.
Yeah.
Can't remember what he got. 74 LS02 and a 273.
Yeah, that's a Magic Desk cart. That's so you can have 64K on it.
Yeah, and that's it pretty much. Pretty simple, but I'm just going to build some of them up. Either put them on eBay or something like that, or give them away to Patreon members and stuff.
I must admit, I'm getting quite a big pot of boards that you buy a board for something and you make one, and
And the rest are sitting in your drawers.
you got 10 for your $5, and that's 9 left over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a drawer full of all these PCBs.
I mean, you can actually move them on because I've seen these advertised in America though, obviously, but I've seen these advertisers for about $8 each for the blank boards. So you can also move the blank
I
boards
think
on if
something
you're
like
going to use them.
Patreon giveaways is probably the way to go.
Yes,
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It'll encourage people to join Patreon and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking with it.
Now, what it is you're not taking into the full. You're not buying into the full Chinese factor here. You see, you buy 10 boards, you jump onto AliExpress, and everything is in multiples of 10. So you just buy all your bits for 10 boards.
Oh, right, okay, and then you sell pre-made kits.
Yeah.
No, I've made a few cartridges, but I've made them in multiples. So like when I did the Kung Fu Flash, I built 10 of them.
Yeah.
The other one, the sidekicks, I did 10 of them. So everything I seem to do, I seem to make 10 of them at a time because I only buy the cheap components from China.
That's one thing I ain't got for the C64s. A Kung Fu Flash.
Don't worry, I can easily sort you one of them out.
Good man. I've never used one. Never used a Kung Fu Flash.
Didn't I send you one?
Yeah, it's the best thing ever. I love it. That's what I play all my games off.
No, you sent one of them.
Yeah.
And you sent one of them.
Yeah.
And you sent me a Vex Track cartridge.
Yes.
And I think that was it. I think.
All right, so best thing ever.
The other thing is, I've got a stack of these. These are sort of prototypes of something that I'm working on, and there's like a Rev 1 version of something I'm up to Rev 1.4 on, and they're exactly the right size for drink coasters.
Oh, what is that? Sorry.
They're exactly the right size for drink coasters.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I've got some Amiga ones coming from PCBware.
Yeah.
None of them printed, just little round disc, bouncy ball.
Yeah, basically 80 mil square.
Cool.
The only thing is they got holes in them.
You can put rubber feet through it. Stop your mat sliding.
Well, yeah, it's got the screw holes. So.
That's in case you spill your drink on it, so it drains through.
Yeah.
If you've got them Kung Fu Flashes spare, Lee, let me know and I'll get one of them.
I got
one up.
I'm going to populate them and see what it does.
Populate it.
See if it works. Feed 12 volt through it. And I finally got the famous pen. Did you get one of them?
No.
Did you get one of these?
No, I didn't get fuck all for them because they didn't send me any emails.
Have they not?
No.
Oh. Have you tagged them in one of your videos yet?
Who the fuck? What? No one said tag them.
I tagged them.
I didn't.
Oh, I did.
Not first
little
time.
3D printed logos they send.
See, look. And you get a nice little box.
Oh, you're all taking the piss now, aren't you?
All the boxes I ever get have been crushed by the bloody postie.
All right. And I got all my carts and stuff and me bits and bobs.
I got a big work mat. It's not anti-static, but it's a big,
Yeah, good. Yeah, I was so happy when they contacted me and said you want some free stuff. I thought, what's the catch?
There isn't any.
No, I've just got to mention them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a 30-second ad read on every video.
Oh, is it? I did say to him, I said, do you realise I only get like 50 views on each video?
To be honest, when I did it, it must have been last time I did it. It must have been over 12 months ago. Last time I did it,
Yeah.
I was doing 1581 boards.
Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
And I've run them. I run them probably about, I don't know, about 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe running them on my videos, and then I just stopped. But there were no when you do it, there's no conditions.
Well, she asked me how many videos I was going to do. I said I do 3 videos of one of each board. I said, that's great, thanks. She says, can you send me a link before you publish it?
Yeah, it was great of them. I mean, this time when I wanted these boards doing, I was building my shopping list up. I wasn't expecting anything, and they popped on and said, "Hi, how are you doing? Is there what we can help you with again?" And I went, "Well, yeah, if you want to help me with sponsor with it." And before you knew it, it was all done and dusted, and they were getting sorted out, which I thought was quite cool of them. They are really good at PCB wear. I do like the stuff that they
don't
do.
send the components as well, innit? Because you have to go all them.
If you use PCBware Plus, you can ask them for components, or you can ask for it built.
All right, okay.
So I mean, if you ask for it built, and they'll just build it for you and send you complete board, which is no fun.
I'd have to get that and desolder it, or
get Harry and Eager done with them.
When I eventually get round to doing my 1581, which is yet another thing that's on the infinitely long list of things to do.
Don't do it. Just don't start it. Trust me.
I'm thinking probably I shall get PCBWay to 3D print the case for it.
Yeah.
Why won't you print it?
Well, I could, but I want to see what their printing's like.
Their quality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, printing
it'll be quite good.
Well, if you've seen Retro Recipes in his 3D printed 64 case, I mean that's done in clear, and that's pretty amazing.
It's crystal, isn't it? It's really
they're
expensive, aren't they? Very expensive. Them C64 boards off them.
But
the cases.
I think the case $200, something like that, just for the 3D.
Hell.
Yeah. Nice though, very nice.
I mean, it's an expensive.
$200 nice.
It's an expensive case. It looks really nice, and well, I don't really like clear stuff. But
why do you buy a new bread bin case?
Right?
Where do you buy a new bread bin case?
I mean, obviously, I'm limited to what I can print because my resin bed's quite small. But
yeah,
because I've gone to resin.
Is he having it printed out of resin?
No, it won't be. No, it's going to be properly molded in it and properly, what's he call it? Injection molding, I think.
I don't remember. He did a video about it, but it's been a while since I saw it.
Please Google it.
And Elaine from PCBWay was on his channel a while back. Last month, I think.
Yes, the war one. Yeah, I watched that. That was quite good. But yeah, they do some good stuff to PCBWay. To be fair, they're a nice company and they're nice to deal with as well.
They are, mate. Yeah, they're great.
But you don't seem to get any expectations because first time I got them boards and stuff off them, I had no itinerary, if you like, of what was expected from me to give back.
I think they think if they pass you on if they get another order off you, then that's another person they got to go into them, haven't they? The more they get their name out.
Yeah.
I mean, when us four are super famous in like another 2 years.
Well, when I was first contacted, I mean they contacted me. I only had something like 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Back then, and they said, "Are you interested in a sponsorships deal?" And I said, "But I've only got 100 subscribers.
That's what I was like.
What's in it for you?" And she said, "You'll grow."
Yeah. So
it's nice that they've got confident in the smaller side of YouTube, aren't it? Rather than just sticking to these big guys and giving them everything for free. It's nice that they're helping funding the little channels get up as well, which I think is cracking of PCB work, to be fair.
This is good.
Well, I think their strategy is basically get their name on everything.
Yeah,
that's what, yeah. So they're the only name that people read out.
Well, it's the only name that you think of, isn't it? In the house.
I mean, there's another PCB manufacturer that I'm contractually not allowed to mention.
I
know which one you mean, yeah, because I've never used them.
It's funny you should say that, because I had been
sponsored by him.
I had these boards made by JLC PCB.
Oh.
They were fine. They turned up all right. I had the keyboards made with them. The keyboards for the Atari and the MechBoard 64. Yeah. There's no hassle.
I know a number of channels that swear by them, but I've got to say they don't appear to have the same sort of coverage that PCBWay does.
No.
No.
They don't seem to have the same sort of outreach.
I found them cheaper for larger boards. But I've bought lots and lots of boards from PCBWay, and the only time I've had a problem is when I fucked up the routing myself.
Yeah.
So they've all been absolutely top notch anyway.
Yeah, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 boards, I think, of my own design now.
Yeah.
Through PCBWay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about that other night, being able to start looking at the software for designing your own boards. You know, I don't even know where you'd start. Is it in CAD or something like that? Or...
I've used KiCad. I'm not sure if it's KiCad or KiCad.
Right.
KiCad.
That's free, isn't it?
It's free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because what I'm thinking of doing is making some more of these, but obviously these have got like PCBWay slapped all over them, and whoever built them themselves and stuff like that. And I thought it'd have been nice to have done one of these and put my 8-bit retro refix logo on the back of it or something like that. Personalize it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, mine. I don't know if you can see. It's got just copyright Tim's Retro Corner and the CC by blah de blah logos on it. And this one has got, it's not focusing, but it's got Tim's Retro Corner.
Cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the PCBWay logo on it. I haven't found a way of putting the PCBWay logo on it, actually. At least not in terms of it being done automatically.
Yeah, their fonts and everything.
So I think that if you've got a board that's got the PCBWay logo on it, they've put it on themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I've not had any of mine turn up with that on it.
No,
PCBWay on it.
I've not checked.
I've got one.
I'm not bothered about it being on in small writing. Do you know what I mean? That's fine, but I just don't want it blasted out. I'd rather brand something.
They put a batch number on it, and you've got the option of paying a bit extra and not having the batch number on it.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, if you've got graphics on it, it's been done on the silkscreen layer.
Yes.
Yeah, mine's got that. These Uno cards don't say PCBWay.
And I don't know if you can see it, if you can make it out, but that's the size of the batch number.
Yeah.
It is really tiny. So it's unobtrusive, and it's not in somewhere that you know that it's going to stand out.
Yeah.
You don't have any control over where they put it,
but you can always pay to have it not on there if you want to.
Yeah.
No, I've used Eagle, which is an older type software, but I did this sort of 7 or 8 years ago when I was making boards.
Yeah.
On some of the open source PCBs that you get on GitHub, they're done in Eagle, and you don't necessarily have a KiCad option for those.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can download the Eagle files and directly upload them to PCBWay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
To me, I wouldn't recommend you try Eagle because it's got a steep learning curve. If you're not that way inclined, you're probably better off with the KiCad, because that's what everyone's using now. Eagle was, 10 years ago. That was the tool.
Like old hat, I suppose, isn't it?
Well, they've kept updating.
And the way it works is you lay out the schematic with your sort of standard schematic symbols, and then you dump it onto a PCB outline, and it just piles everything on there, and you move things around, position them, and then join the dots.
Yeah.
It starts off as a complete rat's nest, and your job is it's like you can treat it like a game. Tidy the rat's nest up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it because it's something that I won't mind doing and starting producing some more cartridges for the C64. I know you can get your flash cartridges and your Kung Fu flashes and they do all the same, but it is nice to have something. I mean, I've always liked the Ghostbusters, so it's really nice to have something like that, as a separate entity.
I seem to like them in boxes. I don't like wedging a PCB in the back of the Commodore.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a small case for that, and then just a small red case or something like that for that one. So just like that at the top, it might look all right.
Yeah,
3D printer is ideal for making cartridge cases.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And this, I just found this. This is a +4 C16 cartridge board, which I obviously got on spec because until sort of a few weeks ago, I didn't have a +4. So exactly why I went out and bought some +4 cartridge boards, I don't quite know. But
you should make a diagram for it.
Yeah.
I can now make up some ROMs for it.
Yeah. When the diagram yourself, you can just pull kernel straight out and put the diagram straight into kernel area on them ones.
Ah. I've still got another +4 that's pretty fucking beasted. So I need to figure out what's the matter with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can just do that. I'll just check me. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I'm just looking at my rack of chips, and there's a diagram there. Look.
I might have a go at that.
Look how organised that is.
Yeah, I know. It's disgusting, isn't it?
That's some Z80s.
That's what I mean.
What's amazing me is he actually knows where the stuff is.
You know that. You know it.
I have to go searching through boxes for stuff.
Got some 64.
I know. I've got some EEPROMs somewhere in this room.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. I know I bought them. They're here somewhere.
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
It's called the art of laziness, so I can go like that and grab things.
I'm impressed with that. I am.
I'm impressed with that as well.
I can just find things. I mean, I have to open about 6 drawers to look for something.
I quite often end up buying another one.
Cap kit for a Commodore 64.
Don't need it.
Why do you think it's still in the bag?
You don't need it.
I bought some caps for my +4, and the sort of quantities that you needed to get them in, just to qualify for free shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
I've got enough capacitors to well, I could do probably 10 plus 4s.
How many is in a +4? There can't be many in there.
There's 7 10 mics and about 3 others.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's the big one, and then a couple of a 1 mic and a 22 or something.
So while we're talking about caps, right? Let's talk about how you remove them. Because you know everybody uses different methods. The reason I mentioned this was, right, I did the CD32 video. I did a recap on that. And I always used my heat gun. Do you know, for heating them up? I'll always tape up with foil around and everything like that. I put flux down and I heat it until it moves and I pull them off with tweezers, okay? And I got a comment of some guy saying, you're doing that wrong. You're going to warp the board and all this lot. And I've been doing this like for years and never had any trouble at all. So then I buy hot tweezers. I do a SNES with hot tweezers, and yeah, it worked. But I still prefer my heat gun. But
I bought some hot tweezers, and they were absolutely bloody useless.
Yeah.
Plugged in, and turned right up. You could still touch them. They were that.
Oh right, well mine
They got warm, but that was about it.
Yeah, the only thing I found with them is when you tweeze them together, the thingy, but they tend to twist and then they go on top of each other and underneath each other.
Oh
and
yeah,
that really annoys me.
They cross over and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the only thing I found with them. But I used to use heat gun for everything because, like, where I used to work before, I did a lot of work on MacBooks. So we were actually removing SMCs and stuff with with heat gun. We used to blast the hell out of those MacBook boards and it didn't do any trouble.
There is only one rule of unsoldering capacitors, and that is some bugger is going to tell you you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. That's the thing. I only mentioned that because I know Lee did a snip and you got a comment, didn't you?
Yeah.
And also 8-bit Rectal, you got a comment as well, didn't you, Steve?
I've had roaring at me about it. It was like, oh, another snipper damaging boards.
Do you know, I've never done an Amiga, and I went in there and I went whop, just chopped them all off, and it was fine.
Yeah,
it didn't rip the arsehole out of anything or nothing. They all just came off. It was clean.
The worst one I've done was a Macintosh, an LC630, and the capacitors on that, they're the little job is same as the A600, A1200, but they've glued them down.
Yeah, they do that on the Game Gear.
Yeah,
Game Gears are glued down sideways, so you have to pop them off first, and then you need to take the pads off.
Oh, it's not just any glue, is it? It's like this rubber Evo stick, yummy shit.
Yeah. So even after you've unsoldered them, the bastards are still glued to the PCB, and you're going to rip the traces off if you're not careful. Just pulling the glue off.
You got to just let the pliers and wiggle on the cap, haven't you, until it cracks, until you hear it go.
That's right. Yeah, you twist them back and two until they crack, and then take the pads off. But it is scary. But like I say, I think you should be able to do however you feel comfortable with and what works for you.
Yeah.
If you use an angle grinder to take, I mean, I did that video as an experiment. An angle grinder worked quite well.
Yeah.
What, for taking caps off?
Yeah. I did it for a laugh outside. It was quite funny. I used an angle grinder, a cutter, a power cutter, some snips, some tin snips. They all worked quite well, to be honest.
Should have done one where you held board up with a blowtorch and let all bits fall off for you.
But yeah, I had one on my 1200 where the capacitor gunk had got underneath the pad.
Yeah.
And so after I'd taken the cap off, when I was cleaning it up, the pad just came away.
Yeah, that happens. That does. Yeah.
It happens. I mean, it's quite obvious that it was the electrolyte had done it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still got a bollocking for bad desoldering technique.
Yep, that's exactly the same with mine. He said you wouldn't have done that if you'd taken them off properly. I went, no, because that cap that left the pad as soon as I went near
that
it,
cap was off and the pad was on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just got to look at them and the pads go woof.
And the bottom one came off beautifully. The pad lifted and come off with cotton bud.
Yeah.
You know, so that showed you if it could come off with cotton bud afterwards. And I haven't been lucky enough to leave that pad behind so cotton bud can take it off its own back by pulling the pad off, if you know what I mean. So I think it's just electrolyte that's gone underneath it and got under the pad and corroded it away, personally.
Yeah, I agree as well, because like I say, I've done so many recaps and I've never had any issues, but sometimes pads do come off and I just think, well, that's the way it is.
It is what it is.
Fortunately, CD32, no pads came off. The worst board I've done was an Amiga 1200, to be honest. That was my worst board, but that had leaked everywhere and it stunk like fish paste really bad.
They do,
not,
don't they?
Not as bad, but the Game Gear has been the smelliest one I've ever done. Game Gears are always very smelly.
I'd never had one of them go. I'm taking these pads off, and I'm heating up the soldering iron. Jesus Christ, that stank! Oh my God! And I just can't deal with fish anyway. And I'm thinking, oh, this is just wrong, terrible. But I've got no problem cutting caps off, none at all.
No, I mean the method I've seen is good that you do, because you cut the top off, then you cut the ring off, which obviously takes the pressure off, and then you just cut that bit of plastic away, lift the plastic away, and you just left for the legs.
Well, as long as you cut the tits off first,
exactly,
you can lift the plastic off, and it's not fluted then because it's parallel still, so it just lifts up the legs, and you can't damage it.
I think the best way, I think with snipping was, somebody mentioned it in my comments, is I think don't go as low as possible with them, because you're going to stress on them pins. If you go a little bit higher into the middle, you'll cut above them, the pad pins, so you won't be stressing them as much. Then you can take that ring off, then you can take the knobbles off the top and then lift your bits off, if you know what I mean. If you go right low down, then you're using all that bottom thing and you're stressing it on the pins that are stuck up on the pads, aren't you?
Yeah, Kev's just commented about any tips on soldering. I mean, what I suggest is you get a board and you practice on the scrap board first.
And if it's not working, put more flux on it. And if it doesn't work
after that, you can never have
enough
flux. Exactly,
if it still doesn't work after that, put more flux on it.
Exactly, yeah. True.
You can't, it's running in flux, it'll solder it for you. You know.
Exactly, yeah.
Scandal, before you have a go at it, have a look at Chris Edwards' restoration on YouTube. The man, what he don't know about Amiga ain't worth knowing.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's got loads of videos on desoldering and that, and he's straight in there, boom, 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 and he's just got a common sense approach to it that works.
It's like anything, the more you do, the better you get at it, more practice.
Yeah, you learn, don't you?
But then when you try to do it on video, it never comes out the same as it does when you're off video.
That is the worst bit, is trying to do something on video.
Yeah.
It is, because you go in on a video and you're thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do it perfect. It's got to go on straight. It's got to go on straight away. And I think you overthink the job and you just end up... That's what I think I do anyway.
Yeah.
But off video, I'm fine.
Yeah, the other thing is you've got to make sure that you're working and the camera can see what you're doing. Normally, you're looking at what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to do a video about building these ones. I'm not going to solder them.
Oh, hang on.
Alassa's going to do them.
Yeah.
And I'll record her doing them.
SNK Kev says, which manufacturer makes the best caps, resistors, and transistors?
Gold Star.
What? Resistors are usually laser trimmed anyway, so it don't really matter who you get a resistor off. They're a passive component. Transistors, well, that's a very big subject. I don't think you can get really good or bad ones of those.
They work on the door, aren't they?
They're so mass produced that you've got a level of quality. Capacitors are a different matter altogether. Japanese caps are usually touted as the best, but what you want to bear in mind is go for a 105-degree cap over an 85, a low ESR, and you can always go up 1 voltage level. So if it's a 16-volt cap, you can put in a 25-volt and it'll still be just fine, as long as your microfarad rating's the same.
Oh.
Oh,
But don't go down.
Yeah, never fucking go down, because they'll go bang. But you can always go up 1 stage and it won't have no ill effect.
I've never managed to catch one going bang on camera, although they've done it. But
Yeah, they go well. Tantalums go well.
yeah. If you want YouTube, you want a YouTube thing to look at, there's a guy called Mr. Solder Fix.
What?
Mr. Solder Fix.
Mr. Solder Fix.
Fair enough.
He's got a YouTube channel. He's pretty good, actually.
Oh,
I'd recommend you go and have a look at some of his videos.
I like that guy. What's his name? Electro Boom. The sort of Israeli type guy that's always shocking himself. Brilliant. Absolutely. Look it up. Electro Boom.
I am the Solder Fix. Of course.
No, I think you get dead on solder fumes.
I inhale it.
Oh,
You don't want to mainline solder fumes.
no.
That's why I use leaded solder as well. It gives you more of a kick.
Yeah, it gives you that more of a like that when you've been at it for an
None
hour.
of this.
I'll just read you out a few of the titles off this guy's videos, just so you get a feel for it. How to repair damaged PCB pads and traces. How to replace Ethernet connectors. Desoldering made easy. How to replace surface mount ICs. How to solder SMDs correctly.
Nice.
How to improve your soldering skills. That's a good one.
I think he wants us to type in the chat some information because he wants to screenshot it if possible. That new Kev guy on the soldering that we just said.
I don't know if I can do a screen share, but I can.
It's what Lee was. I think it's what Captain Commodore was saying about the caps. He wants to know.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
So he wants Captain Commodore to quickly type out if he can.
What's that? What are you linking for your video if you've got one?
No, not for that info. 105-degree Japanese.
Nishikons, Rubicons, Panasonics.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be on best behavior now because my boss has just come in.
If the brand looks like you can't pronounce it, then probably not.
Cheers, Steve. He's okay, JSW McLovin. Is my boss.
What is that?
So JSW Matt Lovin there is my boss.
Well, that's it.
No, he's a great boss. He lets us go with all sorts of shit at work.
Well, while we're talking about cats,
What's that? Is that like a Chinese thing?
Okay, him. That's the Japanese.
Japanese and whatever, yeah.
Have you ever had to go at a Vectrex, Tim?
I've got a dead one downstairs.
Did you recap it yet?
No, I haven't dared open it up at the moment.
It's a nightmare.
That is the worst thing I've ever recapped in my life.
It's actually not mine. It belongs to somebody else, but He said, "Yeah, it doesn't work. Can you fix it?" I said, "All right, I'll have a look." And that was a year ago.
Yeah, I'd leave it another year. Honestly, it turned into a complete mission for me.
They're supposed to be right tetchy, aren't they?
It's the CRT that is my biggest sort of concern at the moment. Because
it's all right. It's only a fun size one.
I've never done stuff with CRTs, so
it's you have to go into them with a screwdriver like that, shaking, because if you hit that coil when it's turned on, like, don't you?
Stick your finger there, watch it go bang. Yeah.
I used to remember doing monitors back in day. You had to have the coil and you had to adjust them with the pops, didn't you? And they had to be on to adjust them. God, it's crazy times, honestly.
I mean, I've not done so much with CRTs, but it's just, I suppose it's like all else, isn't it? You just get your schematics out and follow them and see what you can find.
Yeah. That's right.
The problem with the CRT is discharge.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're going to have to drop it to ground. So underneath your suction cup, you usually wedge in a big ass screwdriver, one on your earth frame, and then whack, and then just discharge it out.
And once it's done, isn't it? It's fine.
Yeah, because it's such a small CRT, you're only going to get sort of 20,000 volts on it.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the major sort of 40 to 50 that you will on a big CRT, you know. But trust me, it will still, it will still twitch you.
It'll only lightly kill you.
You do definitely have to drain it out. The other thing to do is leave it plugged in and just let it drain out naturally.
Yeah,
it'll take a couple of weeks, but it will do it.
Yeah, like I said, once you've grounded that, they're not a problem really, are they?
No, but the issue with them is analog. The entire machine is analog.
Yeah.
And the caps. Some dirty bastard has soldered them both sides of the leg, on both sides of the board. So the caps are like off the board, but soldered both sides.
They had more time in them days.
Oh my God. I had to cut them off, extract the legs, put new caps on, and then solder them both sides because they're used as vias.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Really nasty to
Right, so there's no through hole to it then, is there? You create your own through hole, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, horrible.
Yeah, you're putting him off now.
I remember the days when I was at school and we would build PCBs. You had to get little pins and hammer them through.
Yeah.
Because there was no such thing as through hole plating back in those days.
No.
Pins, hammer them through, Jesus.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
You could buy PCB pins. You could buy them in bags of 500.
Christ.
That's what you need when you're doing that PTMI slot. You could have just hammered them through.
They were like 0.8 mil diameter or whatever the sort of standard drill hole sizes.
That PCM CIA slot, that did not want to come out. That just...
It's because you're videoing it. I've told you. If you hadn't been videoing it, it would have been spot on out first time.
If I hadn't been videoing it, I would have chopped it out.
Grinded it.
Well, it's another way, isn't it? It's like changing chips sometimes. If you've got a fragile board, you cut all legs off, don't you? Just cut it off and then deal with it.
Absolutely. I do, yeah. And then just extract the pins out.
Yeah.
How much would you charge to recap a Vecchi?
I wouldn't do it. I'm not doing
Commodore would do it. I'd do it up here.
I wouldn't do another one. It was that much of a ball ache.
There you go. But iron at 400 braid and it'll work. Will it?
When I powered it up and nothing worked, I then found that the solder had gone like crumbly,
Yeah.
and I ended up reflowing the entire power board before it came back to life. Terrible machines.
Have you still got it? Or was it yours?
It still works. I ain't getting rid of it. It's a success story. That's if it's that much of a pain in the ass, I'll keep it even if I don't use it.
I've just got Ace Ventura in my mind now. It's alive.
But when it first powered back on, because it's analog, all the vectors didn't line up, so it looked like this hot mess of shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god! And I've only just recapped it. I thought, what the hell's going on here? It took ages to troubleshoot it.
Yep.
Really, really terrible machines, because you have like a digital board and a power board and analog in between it, and it's like, oh, nasty. Really, just nasty.
I was thinking of one. I'd like to have one in my collection of Vectrax because it's oddball, isn't it? You know, it's something that everybody's got.
And it got Star Wars on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't work too well though.
You can get them little cartridges now, can't you?
The C64 version.
Yeah, you've got one, Steve. That's one of the ones I sent you. That's a Pytrex.
Yeah. It's better than the C64 version because you've got them proper lines, the Vectrax lines. It looks better.
The problem is the Vectrex is a bit gutless, so it can't quite draw as many vectors per update. So you get like a flickering.
Yeah.
It uses persistence to try and fool your eyes, but it's not that great. It's good to play on it. It's like, oh wow, but in 10 minutes you're going to think, yeah, ain't really that great.
Yeah, they're a lot of money, aren't
they? But the games themselves, they're really unique. You've got that really pale whitish, like titanium white vectors. You know, like you had with Asteroids in the 70s.
Yeah.
Late 70s. You've got that with the games, and they've got like a blue hint to them. It's really nice to play on. Like the Mindstorm, the one that comes built in. It's a good game. It's a really good game.
Does yours work at all, Tim?
They come with little plastic overlays as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I remember them from Philips G7000 and stuff like that we used to play back then.
Yeah.
Jesus, they were shit.
Yeah, cracking though. That was my first introduction into sort of that kind of thing.
I used to play the original arcade Asteroids like all the time, and you could never get me off the machine.
That's a superb game.
They were great, yeah.
Because
I never found a home version, and I never tried the Vectrex one, but I never found a home version that came anywhere close to it.
I think the Vectrex will.
The Vectrex will.
Without a doubt. They're very close.
Tim, do you remember when you were looking at it and the asteroids moved and you had that like persistence?
Yeah.
In the phosphor. You have the same thing with the Vectrex. It'll just feel really similar.
I've tried it on the 64 and other things, and yeah, it was just crap.
I mean, I've got a Vectrex, but from what I've known with Vectrex and what I've seen of them, I think you'd be pretty darn close to the original.
Yeah,
on Vectrex. Get it dug out, Tim. Get it recapped.
Get it done. Yeah, make a video so we can all watch.
Customer in chat.
It's probably just the power supply is gone or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're just a linear. It's just a transformer. So you'll have no problem with that.
Good old days.
I don't know. I tried it at the time. You just plugged it in and nothing happened.
Scandal says it burns into your retina when you play it in the dark.
Oh dear.
It's one of those things that I'm not going to go out of my way for, but if someone comes across, then I might snap it.
They're expensive fucking bits of kit now.
Exactly. It's like anything now. Retro is going stupid. It's like Commodore Amigas used to be. They're ridiculous now.
They were 10 a penny not so long since, weren't they? You know.
Yeah, now they've gone ridiculous price. Crazy.
Yeah. Anything with Amiga written on it is just stupid.
That's what I'm saying. It's just crazy. Why?
I've still got I've got that Checkmate case I've got to build, so I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to get the 1200 in there. I've got a little PCB that converts USB HID keyboards so that I can use a different keyboard on it. I've got the Pi Storm. I'm having some fun and games with the Pi in that at the moment. So, yeah.
Well, now you can get Pis again. I'm thinking about getting a Pi Storm for one of mine.
You can get pies again.
Yeah, you can get Pis.
Yeah, they're slightly unavailable in the sense that you might not be able to get every single model every time you go and look on the store. But
Yeah.
You guys heard of Retro Games making Amiga Maxi? What's Amiga Maxi?
You know, the A500 Mini, they're going to do a Maxi, you know, full size with keyboard.
With a keyboard that works?
Yeah.
But inside it'll still be like a...
It'll be same board as the Mini.
Stuff, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just full size, a bit like the C64 when they made the full size one.
Oh, that's quite cool.
So, is it going to be board compatible? Could you buy one of those? I don't know how much it's going to cost. Could you buy one of those, rip the Raspberry Pi or whatever it is out of it, and bung a real Amiga in there?
I can only imagine that they're going to be very, very similar to this, like the kind of the idea with the C64 Max, because that's basically USBs, that keyboard.
Yeah.
So if you use the key right, you can take it to that, and you can put it into a C64 if you want.
But that's a good point.
I'm just thinking because replacement Amiga cases are also bloody expensive.
I know what you mean, yeah, but I don't think it's going to have the ports on the back, is it?
It won't, no. It'll only have an HDMI and USBs.
Yeah.
I got the A500 Mini for Christmas. That's really quite nice.
Yeah, it's
I'm on the telly.
cracking bit of kit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I loaded up some.
I've got one downstairs sitting under the telly.
Yeah, it is.
I put some CD32 ISOs on there, and they play fine.
Well, it'll run out AGA stuff and everything.
Yeah.
It's nice. They're nice to be able to just put, like you say, in front of your television at home and plug it in, and you've got your full screen with HDMI and everything. It's just nice to have a sit back and play, but I do feel as though you still do get a bit of lag.
I do feel that Neil's got himself on mic. Mic. Oh, fuck me. Neil, your mic is mute, mate.
That was great, that.
Your mic is muted. There you go. It's gone.
He's unplugged it.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Yeah. You've been sitting there talking to yourself.
No, what I was trying to say was, you must have heard me before when I said AGA.
No,
whatever.
No, possible.
No, listen, no. Seriously now, like, do you know, because my CD32 is from that CD32 Gamer magazine.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a hold of one of the magazines, but like issue 1 on eBay, they want £175 for a magazine.
For a magazine?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I just want it to put with my Amiga. So if anybody's got a CD32 Gamer magazine, pass it my way.
Can you get a PDF of it?
I can get the PDF. It's not the same, is it?
No.
Because I even contacted the publisher at the time. I found him. I tracked him down. He's working for Sony now. I sent him an email to try and see if he's got a copy of a magazine I can put with this machine. You know, for when I go to the Amiga shows and stuff, so it can have a bit of memorabilia with it and stuff. So that's all it was.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
The Zap 64 first edition just sold, haven't they? I think Chris has just sold one. I think we're over £100 or something like that for it.
What was that?
The Zap 64 issue 1 is about £100.
It's just crazy, isn't it?
It's mint, absolutely factory mint.
Yeah. I'd never spend that much on a magazine.
No.
Jesus.
I might do for full binder, you know, with about 15 magazines in it or something with binder for. I might be tempted for that.
A few years back, I got a DVD off eBay, and it's got every single Zap that's been PDF'd on there. I think it cost me like $2.99. It did.
Yeah.
I thought I might have it next to me. No, but yeah, why would you actually want the magazines now, though? Realistically, they're just gonna
The collectibles out there.
Magazine.
well,
Yeah, it's just
collectibles out there.
to say you've got it.
yeah.
Collectibles. I mean, I've got loads of Zap 64 magazines. I haven't got them all, but I've got loads. And I've got all the new ones and every single one that's came out. I've kept up with them and the annuals. I think that was the latest, wasn't it?
Oh, bloody hell!
What was that?
I've got
Tim,
some
regular
on the shelf, but
Hey?
You what, Tim?
I've got some on the shelf, but by no means a complete set.
So it's just me then
What's that?
that hasn't got magazines.
I haven't got any. I've got some of the reruns of the Amiga magazine you do now, the new one. Because I pick it out when I go in Woolies and stuff like that. Not Woolies, I mean W8 Smiths. Woolies. I haven't been in Woolies in a long time.
I don't think one has.
Not unless you got a time machine.
Exactly. But I'll do
Back
one.
in the day, I would just read them and throw
Gamer
them out.
magazine. I don't care what issue it is. I just want one to put with the machine. But I'm not paying £175.
It's nuts.
Well, you could sell it as a magazine and throw in the Amiga. You know.
No, I don't want to throw in the Amiga. That Amiga stay with me now until I retire next week.
So, Tim, what Pi Storm are you going to get? You're going to get the 500 or the 32?
32 probably.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to be putting in this checkmate case.
From what we heard at the Amiga show, they didn't recommend the Pi Storms, did they?
Can't remember, to be fair.
They're saying it had lots of issues with games and stuff.
Well,
Really?
I'm not a very big gamer, so that doesn't bother me too much.
But they said if you want to run Workbench and productivity and stuff, it was fast. But it had a lot of issues with games and stuff, they said. Because I said I've got one for the Amiga 600, which I've still got to fit to this 600, which is behind me here. Whoops, just fell off, but it's down there somewhere. But yeah, I've still got one to fit to that, but I haven't got a Pi. Pies are like really hard to get hold of, they were. So I wasn't paying.
No, it's better now.
Yeah, they're not in scalper prices anymore.
No,
they're just standard regular price, same as they were before.
Somebody's got a CD TV T-shirt now. That was a machine from the past, wasn't it? Nobody could afford it at the time.
I saw one about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and I got offered it for about £400.
And you wish you'd have had it now.
I didn't have the money, but to be fair, I picked up 1701 monitor off him, which were fairly cheap. That were about £40-50 back then.
Yeah.
And he wanted about £400 for this CD TV, but it had the CDT base unit, the disk drive, keyboard, mouse, and
that would be about $2,000 now.
But that's just a 1084, isn't it? And it's in black.
Yeah,
but I wish I'd have had it, but I didn't have the money at the time. But that's the only one I've ever seen out there in Wild.
they did look really nice, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
they did.
Well,
Yeah,
they looked the part. I mean, it was a real sort of consumer item, stick under your TV.
Yeah.
The same as what Xbox has done now. They want everything merged into the console, don't they? TV, but you can put telly through it, you stream Sky onto it, everything's in there, complete media center.
I do think though that the Philips one looked nicer because it's more cleaner.
It's smoother, isn't it?
What, the CDI?
Yeah, I mean it looked nicer than the CD TV to look at.
I never really had to go at one of them, but they're any good.
Yeah, I had one. I had the digital video cartridge. I loved it because everybody else had VHS and I had them on CDs, even though it was 2 films per CD. But
yeah. I had the digital video cartridge for the CD 32.
Yeah. No way. We still got it.
They're rare now.
We still got it, Lee.
No, I haven't got the CD32 either.
Oh, what a shame.
The FMV units are quite rare, aren't they now?
Yeah. They were.
I only gave about 25 quid for it.
Yeah.
I had the SX1 as well. You know, that big block add-on bit that went on the back.
That's worth a fortune now as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, be about fucking right, wouldn't it?
Yep.
No, I got rid of my CD32s about 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have done that.
They're just the wrong time to release, weren't they? They were ahead of the time and too much money. People couldn't afford them at the time.
It were more on the lines of that Commodore were getting sued for using somebody else's code, so they had massive fines to pay out. They wouldn't allow the manufacturers of them wouldn't allow them to be released without being paid for, so they couldn't get them on. They were trying to get them on sale or return, but
that's the CD32 on it.
Yeah,
they couldn't get them out the door. They had warehouses full of the stuff, and
they didn't have the money, so that's why it was liquidated because of them.
Wasn't it over a flashing cursor or something stupid like that?
Something silly.
Yeah,
some bit
that's
of code.
what it was. That was a downfall. Commodore flashing cursor. Some small company sued them.
Oh,
stupid! Absolutely crazy.
Well, their downfall was having Jack Tramiel quit.
No, I know he were a percentage towards it, but I think he still got a job done, didn't he? And he went there because all they were doing is just blowing all the profits. They were using company jet to go shopping.
Yeah, it did sound like there was a bit of.
He got pissed off with them, all this hard work that he's putting into them, and they're just peeing away the profits. So as soon as he came away, they just didn't they? Ended there.
But I mean, once he left, they had no real clue what they were doing, and
he led.
They just had a string of incompetent people at the top.
He got rid of people straight away, didn't he? He sacked old floors and stuff, didn't he? Apparently.
Jack Attack, they called it.
Yeah, that was it. Jack Attack. Yeah, that's what I did.
But he was a fair seller as well, though. I mean, if you went in and spoke to him and said, "Look, I've got this idea. Will you fund it?" He'd go, "Yeah, it sounds cracking, but I want that product on my desk in 6 months' time."
Yeah, and if he didn't do it in that time, then he'd come.
He would have
answer for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but he gave you 6 months to do it. Which it was quite fair in that he were innovated. That's that way of things. I don't think the sacking them because they didn't make it is the right way to go.
You knew where you stood with Jack. You either did the job or you were out the door. That was that was basically
it. A bit like my boss Jamie. That is.
Tim, did you watch us last week? Last stream we did where we had quiz on.
Yeah, I didn't get any right.
Because I saw
that one with Jack Tramiel, wasn't it? That's all his real name.
It was hard. That was.
I thought it was all right.
Well, you'll let her do one next time, Neil, and just do it all about Amstrads.
Will do, yeah. What's Lee's favourite computer? Amstrad.
What would Lee replace his Amstrad with? Another Amstrad.
Yeah.
A dev bob that plays like an Amstrad.
What's the most superior video output compared to Lee? Composite.
Hang on, right. Tim, what do you think about the Amstrad?
I had a PC 1512. It was shite.
Superb. Well,
that's the only Amstrad I ever owned.
And I take it you've had a go on a 464 or something like that. One of the.
Yeah. I've had a go. I wouldn't buy one.
I used to play a game where you had
unless it was cheap.
And you could fly off.
I mean, if it's cheap, I'll buy anything. But,
Yeah.
You what, Neil?
What I remember on Amstrad was a game where you had a carrier and you flew your plane off back and two, and you had to go land on it. I think that was one of the launch titles with the 464. But it was in green screen because that's all they could afford was green.
Yeah, it had 27 colours. 26 of them were green.
Exactly, yeah. 27 shades of green.
Well, that's what they say about the C16 and Plus 4, isn't it? It actually has 128 colours, but 8 of them are black.
Yeah. I think that was down to how they accessed them through the registers, wasn't it? 8 of them had to be black.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I've seen some demos on the C16 and Plus 4. They're actually quite good. That's worth looking at.
They've got plenty of colours on them, though, haven't they?
Some of the demo coders that are around now are incredibly talented.
Yeah. I mean, if they'd have mixed the C64 and the Plus 4 together, they'd have had a really nice machine, wouldn't they, to be fair?
Yeah, well,
the colours and sprites and stuff like that with it.
I think the Plus 4 has got a faster CPU, I think, and they've remade Elite for it, and that's really good. Really good. It's like a non-flicker version, it is.
Yeah.
That came out fairly recently.
Like I said, if they'd merged something like the 128, C128 with Plus 4 sort of thing, they'd have had a really good, really good system back then.
Wasn't that one like, what was it about the C65? Wasn't that like, they're saying in some ways that was a bit better than Amiga, weren't they? Well,
it's funny you should mention that, because I've got a C65 coming. I've got a Mega 65 coming. So my other half's got me one for Christmas.
Cool.
So I'm going to have a go at getting back into the FPGAs, I think.
I'm watching Perry Fractic's video about one of them. It were in the early days, so I don't know whether they're still staying, but the eject button on them, stuff like that, were a bit finicky. You'll have to have a look at that when you get yours.
I won't bother with
They're using new old stock floppy drives, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
It looked really good.
They could use the modern floppy drive, couldn't they? They could have used an old PC mod floppy drive or something like that for them, rather than putting the old reclaimed Amiga ones in. Yeah.
I
want to know where they got them all.
To be authentic.
Well, where they got the 3.5-inch drives from?
Yeah, where the fuck did they find several thousand 3.5-inch drives?
Our boot sale. I don't know, mate. Honestly, they must have been sat in a warehouse somewhere. It's amazing how much stuff sat in warehouses now and again.
Yeah.
There's rumours of box, like he's talking before. There's rumours of warehouse of a CD32s, weren't they, all boxed?
They were in America, yeah. They were sat there because they were releasing. They were there for a lot of years, and then they got found again and started being sold on. But I don't think they've all been sold now, But the controllers are crap anyway. I want a really nice controller for one.
What's that?
CD32. A controller, a decent one.
I had the good one with my first CD32, but I sold it, the one you're after.
I wonder if that little USB adapter will work. You know, that got off your mate at Amiga Club.
Maybe. Try it.
Might plug something like that in and plug an Xbox, a USB Xbox one.
See, you don't like the upside down control pad.
It's weird and it feels crap.
Why did they make it that way? I don't understand it.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's just so strange.
Say now, it's like
Nintendo smashed it with a SNES, didn't they? When they come out with that, nothing could touch it. Realistically,
no. The same as Master System controller, wasn't it? That same style.
That was good, yeah. Yeah.
What? That was square.
Master System, a rectangle.
Yeah. When the Super Nintendo come out, that had the best pad for ages.
I might have just thinking it NES one then.
Yeah. That was the same as Master System, yeah.
Yeah. I got a NES pad.
So Tim, what other machines do you like?
That's a NES one.
Macs, old Macs. I've got about 4 68030 style Macs. Anything Commodore. I've got a PET. I've got a C64, couple of 128s. That's it for the old stuff, I suppose. I think at the moment.
That is the correct answer.
What about Amigas? You got any Amigas?
I've got I've got a few Amigas. I've got a CD32. I've got 4 Amiga 500s, 2 Amiga 1200s, an Amiga 600, 1 Amiga 500 Plus that does not work. I've not managed to fix.
Battery.
What do you think of the 600?
I like it.
Because a lot. I remember
I
when
thought
it came out.
I thought they were over-engineered rubbish back in the day.
Exactly, that's what everybody thought. But now I've actually got to use one now. I think it's a lot better than the 500.
I think put a faster processor in it, make it go quick.
Yeah.
Because it's small. I mean, it's
exactly.
the form factor. I think
great,
that really sells it.
It's well known, wasn't it, as the pointless Amiga back in the day? Because why have an Amiga 600 1 meg with no keyboard, half a keyboard, when you could have a 500 with an half meg upgrade to it? It's the same job.
Yeah, I mean, it was more expensive and no more powerful.
Yeah, but I don't think people realise that they had the sort of like the IDE port on them as well. And as soon as Vampire came out and made an accelerator for one, well, that brought them into their own right. Then people are going, "Oh, I want one of these."
And no big modulator stuck out the back, no diving plank. Everything was really small, complete unit. I love my 600.
But yeah, I mean, mine is apart from having a hard drive put in it, or at least a compact flash put in it, mine is currently stock.
Yeah,
and I've got plans to do stuff with it to accelerate it and whatever, RGB to HDMI and so on.
You know about Macs and stuff like that. I might have a couple of Macs that I'm going to get rid of anyway. I think one's an SE. I think the other one's is it LC?
Because I got a job writing Mac software back in, I think, 1992, and I'd never used a Mac before then, so I bought a Mac and I've been addicted to them ever since.
So I might have a couple of them coming up, but they don't work as far as I'm aware. But I'll give you a nudge in chat anyway about them.
But yeah, I mean, 68,000 Macs and PowerPC Macs. I don't really like to play with anything that's beyond the year 2000, and that's my cutoff, if you like, for being retro.
Yeah, I think the SEs are 68,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know about. I think it's LC or something like that. They call them. This is the other one that I've got.
Get a Mac, get a Specky. Yeah, basically, my boss was Mac.
I think it's the LC475. It's the sort of original pizza box style.
It's flat. That's about so big, but it's about so deep.
Yeah, because he's putting Boo Mac. Because basically, every Mac we got at work, we had problems with. Well, we're talking about the new Macs, but like I say, but we do have a lot of issues with Macs at work, especially with this key change things and all this lot.
Well, this what I'm on here is a Mac. It's an i9 Mac. About three or 4 years old now, but
yeah,
the last of the Intel Macs it is.
They are, what's his name though? They are well made. Like I say, I used to work on repairing Macs and they are so well made. But you had like 16 P2 screws to get the Wi-Fi cables out and stuff like that. But
overkill.
Loads of screws, but they're well made. I've always said that about them.
I've never used or touched one of the 8-bit apples, an Apple II or an Apple III or anything like that. I'd like to have a look at one day, but
that definitely.
What's that?
But over here, they're just ridiculous money.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were never a thing. You couldn't. Well, you could buy one, but they were very, very expensive.
They still are.
Well, yeah, they still are, but they were competing with things like the 32K PET.
Yeah.
In the day, you could buy a 32K PET, which came with a monitor and everything for like 650 quid back in 1980-ish. And you had to pay the same again for a floppy drive, but you were paying double that for an Apple II, and you still didn't have a monitor or floppy drive.
Well, this is one of the things that I like about.
But it had more slots than a PET did.
I don't know much with Mac and Apples and stuff like that. I've never been anywhere near them, to be fair. Closest thing I've been to Apple were an iPhone.
Who wants one of them?
I don't know. Tell me about it.
It's a 6502. I'll use anything that's got a 6502 in it, or even a Z80.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the things I like about emulation and FPGAs. It makes other machines very accessible, especially the things like the Mister.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new little single board computer out called the Agon Lite, and that's basically got a modern version of a Z80 in it.
Yeah.
But it's got all the I/O of an Arduino.
Yeah,
that's great.
So, and it runs BBC Basic.
All right.
So if that's not a Frankenstein hybrid, I don't know what it is.
I've seen adverts for it, like online and that, but
it's not expensive. I mean, it's about 50 quid or so, I think.
Yeah.
For a single board computer, I'm not sure where mine is. Oh yeah, hang on.
Teletext. You just mentioned Teletext. Teletext was great, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's in a 3D printed case, but it's got a VGA output. It's got a GPIO port, and it's half Arduino, half Z80.
Does it do teletext?
Sorry?
Does it do
teletext?
I don't think it does. Somebody will probably write teletext for it. It does all the modes, all the
might get some cheap holidays.
The BBC graphics modes.
Yeah. There's a website for it still on go, isn't it?
So there is, yeah. I've heard there is.
Yeah, well, it's open source, so anyone can make them and build them. And
has it had much of a take up?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the problem with these things. You see, with the retro stuff, you've already got an inbuilt community. You have something new. I mean, we spoke about this the other month, didn't we? We like
these and stuff, yeah.
Like the Commander X.
It's going to be the same with the Mega 65, with the Commodore X16.
Yeah,
they're all going to have the same problem of not enough of them built, and then not enough take up.
Well, not so much with the Spectrum Next and the Mega 65, because you'll still have the C64 and the ZX Spectrum side to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're going to win. But when you get stuff like that Commander X16, which is like a completely dreamt up new 8-bit,
on its own back sort of thing.
Well, this is as well, but
yeah, exactly my point.
Between this is that this is a 50 quid. You can drop 50 quid on something like this, on on spec, basically.
Yeah.
But the Commander X16 is going to be what, 300 or 400 quid?
Yeah, that's going to be a white elephant.
Yeah, Rudy's just asked if I was buying one.
As nice as it looks, and it does look nice.
Yeah.
And the software that I've seen for it does look nice, and it's got slots which presumably you can build stuff to go in. I'm all about building stuff to go in slots. I think that's a brilliant thing to do, because that just it ticks my boxes. I can't remember what I was going to say now. But the X16, it's got a lot going for it, but the problem is there's only one maker of it. They're only churning out so many a month. I think they're sort of crowdfunding. I might be wrong about that, but I did see a video about sort of production problems that they'd had, and problems sourcing different chips and things. I'm sure that's the same with the Mega 65. But the problem is going to be it's too expensive with too small a market, and then when someone down the line in 5 years' time wants to get into it, because either they can't afford it now, or they're not interested now, but in 5 years' time down the road, when somebody does want it, it's going to be no longer produced. And I think that's the big problem with a lot of these small manufacturers, and that goes for add-on cards as well, for accelerators and all those kind of things. They are great when they first come out, and you get the the backers get theirs, and there's a production run, but there may never be a second production run, and then they're just historical artifacts at that point.
But with that said, the ZX Next has absolutely smashed it out of the park, because not only is it backwards compatible with a Spectrum, they've also made it open source, and the core has been ported to other FPGA systems. So if you've got a Mister, you can play ZX Next, which is pretty cool.
Well, FPGAs are a really interesting idea, because they recreate the machine at the silicon level.
No.
Well, ish.
They have the capability of recreating it on a silicon level if they're programmed to do so. But it's just as easy to make a facsimile of something that works the same way, looks the same, acts the same, but it isn't actually doing what the real hardware does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's actually loaded with like a Verilog or VHDL. So and this is going back a long time.
1541 runs 1541 ROMs, but an SDC to IEC looks the same. It just works completely different.
Yeah.
Well, going back a long time when I worked on the MIST, the C64 core then, it had a 32 megahertz clock, and that was subdivided between different subsystems, and that was close enough that no one would know the difference. It's one of those things. It's technically able to recreate hardware, but whether it's programmed to do so or not, that's another matter.
Great.
But I still like FPGAs and emulation. I think they're both brilliant.
I think the interesting way forward is not so much the Mister, an entire system on a single FPGA. It's the little chip level FPGAs that we're seeing that do CIAs, that do this is a Z80, this is a 6502 replacement.
And I think
that's
about them, how expensive we were, weren't we?
Well,
Yeah.
they are, but at the end of the day, I mean, how much are you going to pay for a 6522? Is it 6522 with CIAs now? Yeah, how much are you going to pay for one of them?
6526.
See, that's it. How much are you going to pay?
I don't know. I've no
But
idea, but I know we're
you
talking about.
you could get an FPGA that is programmable to be a 6522, 6532, 6526,
Yep.
6530.
It's probably going to be a lot more reliable, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. Yeah,
Exactly,
especially the CIAs. I mean, when they come down a little bit with price wise, I will get a pair, and I will get the CPU as well.
You were saying last time you're surprised how much you were. It surprised you, didn't it, a bit?
Yeah.
At the moment, the 6526 replacement FPGA board chip things are about twice the price that you'll buy a real one for.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But you've got the reliability, though, haven't you?
Yeah, we have, and you can change it. You could change it, couldn't you? Like you say,
You've got the reliability of them. That's the difference. I mean, they're
Yeah,
dropping
but
like
the guy's lost his crumpets. At that price, he's properly lost his crumpets.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I wouldn't buy one now, but it's in a few years' time, you're going to get they're going to get cheaper, and the real chips are going to get more expensive and harder to find.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think they are the future. They may not be the now.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right. Well, we've been going for 2.25 hours. So I think we're going to have to wrap this up.
Okay.
So if everyone stays where they are, I'm going to jump off stream. So everyone watching, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you later.
Later.